Yes, indeed, we are back for part 3, everybody. Part 3 of the Jehovah's Witness versus Anti-Denominational, and this is the final cut. Yeah. This is the final cut of this particular show, and we've got some information that we are going to be sharing with y'all. You just better strap up your boots and get ready, because it's going to be on in just about a minute or two. And I'm excited. We are excited. We have brought our guests back. We have back with us Brother Renaldo Wade, and we also have back with us Brother ISAAC CARMIGNANI, and Brother ISAAC CARMIGNANI is that of the former Jehovah's Witness, who has been in the faith for at least 30 years, and he's going to share with us. And then we also have Brother Renaldo Wade, who is anti-denominational. And we know we have no clue as to what that's really all about.
And they have been stirring up trouble on the Wiley show. They have been having some rubber meet the road.
Rubber meet the road stuff, girl. And how the rubber has really been meeting the road on the past couple of shows, and we're excited to be back here for the rubber to meet the road again today. Okay, so listen, we just want to welcome everybody back who is watching on WildinTVShow.com, everybody who is watching out there on YouTube, everybody who's watching on Google Hangout, everybody who's watching on Tumblr, all of our Facebook fans. Do you have Facebook fans?
Yeah.
All right.
I got one or two.
Okay, well, I got one or two, too. So all of our Facebook fans and everybody who is watching out there in Pakistan, and everybody who is listening on Spreaker, and those of you who are tuning in on Periscope, we are excited to have you back with us again today. And if I tell you what we are looking forward to, what we're going to be bringing to you today, and y'all you just need to get ready. You just need to get ready, okay, because this is getting ready to be on. And as soon as we go and take a little quick break, I don't know, I guess we'll do a little pimping or something. I don't know what you want to do. Anyway, we're going to do
I'm ready to get these questions started. Well, we didn't have to take a break, but we know we got to pay some bills. But, oh, man, it's going to be good.
Yeah, so we're going to go on and pay a few little bills. And as soon as we come back, y'all know what's going to happen. Let's tell them what's going to happen. The rubber is going to meet the road again in just a minute.
Hi, this is Wiley in the Las Vegas Queen of Gospel. First of all, I really do appreciate you listening and viewing my show every week. I would greatly appreciate your financial assistance as well to keep my show on the air. Please just mix and type a contribution. $5, $10, $20, $50, $100 or more, whatever you desire. Please log on to www.wyleanertvshow.com and click the pay button. Or please send your check or money order to Wyleaner, that's spelled W-Y-L-E-A-N-E-R, to 420 North Nellis Boulevard, Suite A3, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89110. Also, if you would like to be a guest on the show, please call 702-242-2100 or email me at wyleanertvshow@aol.com. That's all for now. And thanks again for your continued support. Blessings to you, too. And this is where the rubber meets the road.
Okay. We are back. Yes, indeed. And Miss Amy, you got some information you want to share with everybody before we get rolling?
I surely do. So go ahead. Our phone lines are going to open at about 5:15, and this is the number that you can call. The number is 1-866-945-1110. Again, that number is 1-866-945-1110. Remember to press the number 1. Also, when you call in, make sure you're respectful to our guests. We can agree to disagree, but if you get on there talking crazy, that's it. So,
you know she told you, okay? She already told you you're going to be introduced to a brand new clique. We have the right to agree to disagree here on the Wiley Show. So, you can call in and say, hey, I think you're wrong about that. Where did you get that information from? Prove it. But either way it goes, we want you to be respectful to our guests. So we welcome back to the show Mr. ISAAC CARMIGNANI. Mr. ISAAC CARMIGNANI, are you with us?
I'm with you.
All righty. Okay, so Mr. ISAAC, how has your week been? And make sure to let everybody know where you are joining us from.
Oh, the week has been great. I'm joining you from New York City, and I'm glad to be here.
All righty then, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it, and we got something for you, honey. So y'all better be ready. You better be ready. Now, we also have with us Brother Renaldo Wade, who is currently that of the Anti-Denominational, and he's formerly apostolic. And last week he had a little technical difficulty, so we hope that we're going to be able to hear him today. And Brother Renaldo Wade, are you with us?
Can you hear me? Good evening.
good evening.
Whoa, yes indeed, we hear you clearly. And we are ready for the rubber to meet the road. Brother Renaldo Wade, you want to know how was your week?
My week has been busy. However, I'm just thanking the Father that I'm here to join you on this evening. Can't wait for the rubber to meet the road.
Oh, look at that. He's trying to get on our good side. He's trying to get on our good side. Tell me he can't wait for the rubber to meet the road. He can't wait for the rubber to meet the road. He can't wait for the rubber to meet the road. All righty. Okay, so listen, we're going to go ahead and begin the questions, because I tell you, we got plenty that we still need to know. Now, last week when we ended on the note of discussing on our late night show. You know, we ended up on the discussion of the dietary laws and about that the pig feet and hog maws and fatbacks and bacon and the baby back ribs and chitlins and shrimp and oh my goodness, and that gumbo.
Make us hungry.
I mean, I'm just saying that's how we ended last week, okay? Okay, so these gentlemen were sharing with us on their beliefs on the food. And so we're going to move on, because if you guys didn't catch that, well, shame on you for the day. You just have to go back and find the show, and that'll be that, and you can check that out later. Okay, but right now we want to start the new questions out, and we're going to begin by asking, we'll start with Brother ISAAC CARMIGNANI speaking on behalf of the Jehovah's Witness, formerly known as Jehovah's Witness. Brother CARMIGNANI, we would like to know from you, does the Jehovah's Witness believe in heaven and hell? And I just simply would like to have a yes or no.
Well, that's a tough one to go yes or no. The answer would be yes, and we'll talk more about it.
Okay, all right, and that's good enough for us right now. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and so, Brother Renaldo Wade, same question for you.
Now, there is a heaven, however, and I see you tapping her arm, however, the hell part is it's make-believe. It's pagan.
Okay, you know what? You see that? You just could not give me a plain no, yes or no. You had it blanked on out there in the middle of somewhere, in the ocean somewhere. You know, you really try to take us there. It really is. I see that right now. You know, but anyway, Ms. Amy, I'm gonna let you deal with them for right now. You know, because I don't know about these guys.
So, since you want to give us extra, I'm going to go ahead and go back to Brother Wade. And the next question is, where do you go when you die? As soon as you die.
You go into the ground, basically. You know, you go into your grave, you know, as they say, 6 feet deep. And according to the practice that I believe in, you wait for the Messiah to come back for you. We don't call it the rapture, but there will be a second resurrection. So you go into the ground, basically. You don't go to heaven or hell. Not then.
Okay. All right. So let's see what Brother Carmignani has to say about that. Brother Carmignani, same questions. Where do you go when you die? As soon as you die, according to the Jehovah's Witness belief.
So, according to Jehovah's Witness belief system, is very similar to what Brother Wade says. There's a text in Ezekiel 18:4 that basically says the soul that sins will die, and the Greek and Hebrew words that are translated as hell are Hades and Sheol, respectively. And so, not respectively, Hebrew is Greek, Hebrew is Sheol, and Hades is Greek. And those simply refer to the grave. So 6 feet under. The only exception would be in Jehovah's Witness belief system that 144,000 that go to heaven. So being that Jehovah's Witnesses believe that Messiah has already come, then they would go straight to heaven when they die. But everyone else goes to the grave. And there is no hell as far as a burning place, because that's a pagan belief, as Brother Wade said, in the Jehovah's Witness belief system. So it's just 6 feet under, or wherever you happen to be, where your body rests. That's the grave.
Okay, so we're going to linger on that for a minute, right, Ms. Amy?
Yeah, so according to the Jehovah's Witness, if we're listening correctly, only 144 going to 144,000 are going to heaven, and the rest of us is going in the dirt. And according to Brother Wade, my linger on question was for you. It was one of those, it was kind of like a statement. So all the people that when their loved ones pass and they say, well, they're going to a better place, they just in a fairy tale, or they like living a lie.
Brother Wade?
I hear you. I feel that, you know, you will be there. We read the word and we hear that he's going to come back for us. Now, if people get it confused at funerals when they say that he's in heaven, he's looking at us and we want him to shine on us, that's not happening. It's pagan, it's Christianity, because you don't go to that particular place until he comes. Okay, so that's basically how it is. It's written in the Old Testament and in the Renewed.
Okay. Now you need to just wait a minute. You need to wait. Just wait just a minute now here. Okay, you telling me and my co-host here that you don't go. I mean, you're right. When you go to a funeral, I've been to many funerals. Okay, when you go to the funeral, they say in the funeral, Sister Sally is right there with the Lord right now, and she's looking down on us, and she's sitting at the right hand of God right now. And to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And so, that's something that I've heard in the past and on previous shows. So talk to me and my co-host about to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Let's hear about that.
See, the body, because it comes from the dust and it's going to return back to the dust. Now, your spirit, your soul, it is eternal. It's going to spend one or two places somewhere, okay? But your particular soul or your spirit, it does not reach its destination until the Messiah comes. What you think was going to happen at the second resurrection? Your body full of bones and maggots is going to rise up to him? No, that is when your spirit goes up, not your body. Your body's going back to the dirt.
Okay. Okay.
So,
All right. Okay. Okay, well, listen, we want to see if Brother Carmignani wants to chime in on that a little bit more. Let's see what he has to say.
So with Jehovah's Witnesses, there's two destinations for Christians. So everything Brother Wade said holds with regard to anyone going to heaven. So being that Jehovah's Witnesses believe that Christ came in 1914, he's already present, so therefore, anyone that's going to heaven goes right away. If a person is not of that, what they call anointed to go to heaven, that 144,000, then they will remain in the grave and they'll be subject to the resurrection on earth. Jehovah's Witnesses have a unique belief that the earth will become a paradise and the entire earth will be populated with beings that serve God. So therefore, when Jehovah's Witnesses believe in a great cataclysm where all the wicked will be killed and then the earth will be made a paradise. At that time, there will be a gradual resurrection of everyone who's died, who has not gone to heaven, who is a servant of God or wishes to be a servant of God. And so there's a hope, but it's deferred. So that it's a little complicated, but that's the best way I could say it. Two destinations, heaven, earth. One is immediate, and one is in the future.
Okay, Miss Amy, I feel like you feeling something on that. What are you saying? So go ahead.
I'm just listening. They believe, some believe in the heaven, some believe in the hell. Because I know, Brother Wade, there's a particular story or passage in the Bible where Lazarus got called into the Abrahamic bosom. And when he got called into the Abrahamic bosom, the rich man was on the other side where it was real hot. And so he asked Lazarus, can he just dip his finger and give him something to drink, whatever the case may be. So where exactly was Lazarus and where was the rich man?
Well, those who are in the Father, they are in Abraham's bosom because Abraham is the father of belief or the father of faith. Now, as for the person who wishes that they would have became friends with Lazarus, well, here it is right here. You got to understand that hell is a state of mind, okay? So people always look at the physical instead of the spiritual. When you are not connected to the Father, you are in hell. You are in confusion. You are in chaos. You perish. That means you have a disconnect with him. So the Messiah, he was not talking about the person actually being there in hell. There is a place called Lake of Brimstone and Fire. Now that is a place, okay? That is where the enemy and, all of those who wants to follow Satan, that's where they go. But once again, you don't call it hell. Hell is just a Greek word, or Hades. It's a place that they get some tokens and they just float on there. So I wanted to clear that up for you. It's a state of mind.
Okay. Well, I think it's clear. I think it's clear for us on the Wellina show. Now, about everybody else, that's it. That's holding the ball game, because I think it's still going to be some folks that's beg to differ on that, because folks don't tend to want to feel like that that they're not going straight to heaven or they're not going to burn in hell. Although I always found one thing interesting about heaven and hell, especially in funerals. You never hear anybody say at a funeral. You never hear anybody say at a funeral that he was a demon And he's going to hell.
You know, that's
Everybody that died going to heaven. Everybody that dies with the Lord right now. I don't care who died. They could be the villains, who there is. You know, I have never heard anybody say that somebody has died and gone to hell. I know. That ain't be the real. Don't tell the truth. Let the roll make the roll. Let the funeral. Yeah, that's true. Okay, listen. We're gonna move on. And so, what does your belief teach, Brother Isaac? What does your belief teach in regards to your former belief teach in regards to drinking alcoholic beverages and illegal drugs?
So, the drinking of alcoholic beverages is not condemned in the scriptures, according to Jehovah's Witnesses. Drunkenness is. So, and there are many instances in the scriptures where servants of God drank. One that comes to mind is actually a general statement in the book of Psalms that wine makes the heart of man glad or makes it rejoice. So that's a gift of God. But if you abuse it and you are a drunkard, even one time, that's a sin against God. As far as illegal drugs, Jehovah's Witnesses are taught to follow the law. So if it's illegal, then it's wrong. If it's legal drug and it's used within the parameters of legality, then it's up to a person's conscience as to whether they choose to take a painkiller or whatever other drug their doctor might prescribe. But it has to be within the confines of the law, of the governance, the place in which they live.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brother Isaac, for that. And same question, Brother Wade.
I agree 100% with Brother Isaac. You may drink of wine, but you are not to abuse it. You know, we see a lot of people are in alcohol abuse, and the word tells us to take care of the temple. So you may drink wine because wine, it clears the impurities out of your body, but you're not to drink too much, because if you do that, if you overindulge, you become a drunkard, and the drunkards, they cannot inherit the kingdom of the Father. You can read that, I believe, in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 10.
Okay. All right. So also, I know that a lot of people in this day and age, okay, so thank you both for that feedback on that, but listen, a lot of people in this day and age that we live in right now are saying that marijuana is a healing plant, and it was created by God. Okay, so tell us, Ms. Amy, tell us, Brother Renaldo Wade, what does your denomination, your anti-denominational teaching and belief teach in relation to the use of marijuana?
I feel that since it's a herb, it is not created by, quote, God to smoke. Okay, it was created to, to take care of sickness and things of that nature. You're to digest it. So I don't know where people come from rolling it up in papers, or they call it what, blunts, and saying that it's a healing agent. No, yes, it is when you digest it. That's what herbs are for. So it is good when you digest it.
Okay. Making brownies. What you know about brownies? Not just they gonna eat it. Make some bread upstairs. Make some brownies. Brother Isaac Carmignani, what do you have to say about the use of marijuana? Thank you.
So here's the interesting thing. Jehovah's Witnesses look at two things. They look at whether something is legal, and they look at whether something is Christian. So the legal test, as states legalize marijuana for medical use, I can't see Jehovah's Witnesses forbidding that. In the state of New York, for example, the marijuana is legal medically if you go to dispensaries, but it is not legal to smoke it. It's legal to ingest it, as Brother Wade said. However, I could never see Jehovah's Witnesses smoking marijuana because smoking is grounds for expulsion in the witness faith. So smoking anything is considered violating the temple, violating our lungs and so forth. And in terms of taking it recreationally any other way, that would be an interesting gray area that they haven't commented on, because Jehovah's Witnesses drink caffeine, they drink coffee, but they wouldn't wear a nicotine patch. So I think they would probably see ingesting marijuana recreationally, even if it was not smoked, as wrong, because Jehovah's Witnesses do not use nicotine patches or nicotine gums or anything like that, and that would kind of fall under the same category as marijuana brownie or something like that. So, again, the synopsis is medical use. I could see them leaving that up to the individual if it's legal in the state in which they reside. But anything else, no.
Okay, well, now I'm going to chime in on that a little bit because of the fact that, now oftentimes, especially under quote-unquote Christianity, I think most churches would frown on anyone who is exercising the use of marijuana, and especially, I think even if they were because some states it's legal now, right? And then, of course, so with that being said, some people, have a medical marijuana card where they can actually supposedly legally use marijuana because of health issues. But I still believe that there's a lot of denominations that would still beg to differ and say, no, absolutely not. You do not need to indulge in the use of marijuana, medical marijuana card, or no medical marijuana card. What do you think, Amy?
I don't have anything to say.
I really feel that, like I said, smoking it, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? That's it's nowhere in the word of the Father. However, like I said, when you get a herb, that's used for consumption. You're supposed to, have that for, it's a type of healing agent, but you are to digest it. Now, you do have pastors who smoke weed and say that they got glaucoma or something of that nature. They come up with excuses and say it's the law of the land, but the law of the Father always supersedes the law of the land. I don't care what state or what president lays a law, the law of the Father always is perfect.
Wow. Well, that's rubber meet the road right there. I think that's rubber meet the road right there. Because when you say that the Creator supersedes whatever the law of the land says, then that's pretty rubber meet the road. When you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, that's just a controversial situation there, but of course I also understand where you're coming from, Brother Wade, when you say about the smoking, ingestion and smoking, I guess, is two different things, because, you can, that's just like, ginseng or
green tea or, things of that nature.
Right. All these various herbs that we use for medicinal purposes, and we might make a tea out of it, or, make a juice out of it, juice it or something to that effect. And so apparently that's supposed to be like the best way to reap the medicinal benefits from those particular herbs that are grown from the ground. But when it comes to smoking, I don't know. That's a whole nother way of intaking something. That may cause a little breathing problem or something. You just never know, because you're smoking and the lungs. I don't think the lungs were meant. And I don't usually give my opinion on the show, but I'm just saying, just in my mind, I'm kind of thinking, well, the lungs probably weren't meant for smoke to go inside of them. You know what I mean? And so, do you kind of see where I'm coming from on that, Brother Isaac?
No, absolutely. Like I said, smoking is grounds for expulsion in the witness world. That's very clear. My own dad was disfellowshipped. That's the term for expulsion or excommunication in Jehovah's Witness world for over 20 years. And it was because he smoked cigarettes. So, you know, and that was a policy laid down in 1974. It was started to be enforced for Jehovah's Witnesses. So, you know, that's just where they would be, and I could never see them, no matter what law. What Brother Wade said, you know, there's a text in Acts that we must obey the Father as ruler rather than men. And so Jehovah's Witnesses are very adamant that if something is legal, it has to be Christian first and then legal. So if the law says something that the Bible contradicts, they'll follow the Bible to death's door. And so smoking would come under that in their belief system.
Okay. Well, I think we all, you know, can understand where people are coming from. I would say where people are coming from on that. Okay. So, Miss Amy, you go right ahead.
So now this next question. The information was acquired from Wikipedia. There is a complete list of quite a few denominations, although we're just going to zone in on the Jehovah's Witness. Jehovah's Witness considers same-sex sexual activity to be sinful, but recognize that some people may be prone to homosexuality, including members of the congregation. Members are required to abstain from any homosexual behaviors, which is listed as a serious sin. We are told not to hate homosexual individuals. Their literature has stated that Christians should not make homosexual the target of ridicule or harassment. They believe that God intended marriage to be a permanent and an intimate bond between a man and a woman. And regarding same-sex marriage, they have stated that it cannot give homosexuality a cloak of respectability, and are told to avoid debates about legality and homosexuality. Even when the law of the land are in conflict with that their Bible training conscience, Jehovah's Witnesses did not engage in protest of any form of political campaigns in order to change these laws.
Okay, so thank you, Miss Amy, for that. So, Brother ISAAC CARMIGNANI, we're going to start with you on this. And the question to you is, having heard the information that you just heard Miss Amy share with you, and moving forward with a question, I would like for you to share with us on the fact of what does the Jehovah's Witness teach regarding homosexuality.
So what Ms. Amy read is correct. That's a very accurate statement of Jehovah's Witness belief, and it's fair because homosexuality is not allowed. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses in the past have often used the term non-practicing homosexuals in their literature. And what they mean by that is a person may be homosexual in their feelings, but they're to suppress that. If you are a homosexual and it is known, you will be expelled as a Jehovah's Witness. Case closed. Until you figure out how not to be homosexual, how not to express that. But Jehovah's Witnesses are not a violent people. They do not go and harass people because of their beliefs, unless, of course, they were in the religion, then that changes everything. But if they were never Jehovah's Witnesses, then they're not going to harass you, and they will never advocate for political change. They believe God's law is superior to man, so man could legitimize homosexual marriage in every state in the Union, in every country in the world. It's always going to be wrong for Jehovah's Witnesses, and that's because it's clearly stated in the Bible. And even if I went off the Jehovah's Witness soapbox and just spoke as myself, I personally have nothing against homosexuals, my personal belief system, but I will state that the Bible is clear that men who lie with men would not inherit God's kingdom, and I guess one could say women who lie with women as well. So that's just what the Bible says. Myself, I'm in a different place altogether. The Jehovah's Witnesses are, that's clear in 1 Corinthians, and that's just in one place. So I'll leave it there.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out what place you in just a minute. We're going to go back and see what place you in. But anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, over here where the rubber meeting the road, we want to still move along and check out Brother Renaldo Wade and what is his teachings and beliefs out of the anti-denominational folks. What do you teach in relation to homosexuality?
Not according to what I feel, but according to the word of the Father, homosexuality is an abomination unto the Father. It is unnatural for two men to be together or two females to be together. It stops what the Father had commanded us to do in Genesis, to multiply and to be fruitful. That's what this society wants to do because of they're trying to depopulate us. So they want to encourage or to push the homosexual agenda or envelope. And they are even commanding churches who are under the 501c3 to do such. But the ones who are beholders of the truth, we absolutely hate what he hates. We don't hate the person. I have many people who I talk to who, coming out of homosexuality. I don't hate that, but I do hate what the Father hates.
Well. This homosexual stuff is really pretty deep, and it's very, very, it's growing, by leaps and bounds throughout the entire world, I would say. And, there's those that feel that the homosexuals are not being treated fairly with their rights and that type of thing, and that they have just as much rights as a man and a woman in relation to the marriage bed or whatever the case may be. So, you know what? Just out of curiosity, I tell you, my curiosity is just running me crazy over here. So I want to go back over here and see what Brother Isaac is really coming from, because he's talking about you. Yeah, well, different place. He said he's in a different place. So, Brother Isaac, what place is that? What place is that?
Remember, I'm not beholden to any particular philosophy anymore. So, I am not homosexual myself. I'm married to a woman and will always be married to a woman. That's me. But I think it's interesting in our society. At some point, we have to grow. We're never going to lose the ability to procreate because of homosexuals. Okay, the most, what's the percentage of the population, right? Men like women, women like men, and that's how it's going to be, and we'll be here. We, as a secular society, the overarching principle of loving one's fellow man and treating them as we would want to be treated makes more sense than bothering them about their sexual persuasion. So to each his own. And, it makes more sense if people love one another, that union, that love between them, whatever they are, is what we go with. And so the whole Defensive Marriage Act and all of that, I'm glad they stopped enforcing it. But like I said, I'm speaking as a person who, I don't want a Christian society, I don't want a Muslim society, I don't want a Jewish society, I want a society where everyone can come together. But what you do yourself is yours. So if you want to be with a woman or a man or whatever, we'll try and keep it in the human species. I think that's reasonable, but so long as it's another human, then that's where we are. And we're in the great nation of America, so that's where I stand.
Okay, Brother Isaac, now you're on the Wildina show. And you got to give me my props. I got to come at you for a minute here because, I just got to be who I am, and that's why, the Lord's made us free of gospel. And I'm coming at you right now because I want to talk to you about, and we're going to get off this topic because I don't want to rake you over the coals too bad, but I just want to know, you said you wanted to be a society. You're not under the religion. You're not going to understand that. You're not under Christianity, Jehovah's Witness, none of that, all of that, denominations, none of that. Okay, but you just wanted to be a society. Now, I know that's what I heard you say. That's what you heard, right? Okay, so with that being said, a society, how can we have a society if all of a sudden, now this is just my take on the situation, if all at once everyone became homosexual, just all at once, all of a sudden everybody said, okay, we all going to become homosexual, and nobody else is going to have, there's not going to be any more male and female cohabitation. It's only going to be male and male and female. Now, this is still a society, right? And so, with that being said, do you feel that the society would continue to grow, or would the society become at a standstill? That's an interesting question. First of all, it's a false hypothetical because it's not going to happen. And I think that's where we sometimes go in our religious and political discourse, is we talk about things that are not going to happen. But let me run with it for a sec, because that's probably where science fiction goes. Mind you, you could still procreate, because we have figured out how to procreate without sexual intercourse between a man and a woman. It's called in vitro. So what you would have is a whole nother structure, right? There would be a whole nother set of things that would happen, right? In order for humanity to keep procreating. But let's see it happen, and then a whole nother set of conversations would have to happen. I don't see men not liking women anytime soon, or the other way around. In most people, but we have to accept something here. If we do look at the Creator, if we take a very expansive view of even the Scriptures, and like I said, I'm not talking as a witness. I'm talking personally. If it is true that genetically our sexual preference is written there, and we accept that genetically our DNA is a creation of God, then what are we saying here, right? And the reality is even in Revelation, there's talk of new scrolls, there's talk of things that would change. So is it possible that humanity is changing according to God's will, and you have a lot of human beings who can't figure that out yet because they're still lagging? We really don't know. And that's why it's good not to presume too much. You remember that there was a lot of bigotry in the time when the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, these books were written. Men didn't like women either. Are we supposed to take their antiquated view of women? So why take their antiquated view of anything else? Let's look at what we have here and now, and are we treating one another properly as human beings in a healthy manner? And let that be the focus, and we'll learn as we go. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Brother Isaac. I got to pick on you one more time. Well, I love it. I tell you what, I love my guests. I really do. I love my guests because they just let me break them over the clothes, you know. And
It sharpens me.
I
I love
come
it.
back on you one more time because I want to know, you know, you saying, well, let me phrase it because my thoughts be moving around in my head, you know. And so let me say it like this: how did you get here?
That's interesting. You mean in terms of where I think, not in terms of the Wylena show, I would imagine. A lot of thought, a lot of thought, a lot of meditation on what the Bible says, and also, I guess there was a change in my thinking, a kind of a paradigm shift where rather than let me step outside of religion for just a couple of seconds. If I was a doctor, would I solely, or a scientist, or a computer technologist, or whatever, would I simply read texts that were written in the 1900s and only follow medicine, or whatever my profession is, the way it was written in the 1900s? It would be absurd. I would grow with my profession. I may even help my profession to grow by making some discoveries. So in terms of...
Brother Isaac, let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you because you misunderstanding my question. Okay? I'm not asking you, you know, all of that stuff right there. I'm talking about how did you get born?
Right. Oh, that way. Oh, okay.
Yeah, how did you get on planet Earth?
I got you. Not in philosophy. Like all of us, man and woman.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Man and a woman. You have a mother and a father, right? And so, but now what I hear you saying, though, on the flip side of the coin, is that at some point, you know, there's other ways that people can get here, you know, other than, I guess, what I call the natural way, the real way. I mean, that's how I got here. And everybody that I've seen walking around on this planet, the ones I've seen, I thought they got here by a male and a female. Unless something went on that I didn't know about and they got, you know, brought out of some kind of alien land or planet or something. But otherwise,
well, I mean, nothing to put too fine a point on it. Look how Christ got here, right? So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Even you know, Christians follow Christ, and Christ did not arrive here that way. So that's an interesting line of thought to pursue. So
okay, well, if you want to go there now, and I'm not defending the Christians or nobody else because I don't do that on the Wild West show, but I'm gonna simply say from what I've studied, from what I've seen throughout, you know, the time frame and the studies that I've seen. There was still a female involved, and you know, but you know that was I don't even want to really touch that. Maybe I'll never play that.
We need the ladies. They are the smarter, wiser, prettier sex.
Let me say this. I personally, now this is just on a personal level, I've never seen two male dogs. I'm just saying, y'all. Two male cats. Two female cats. You know, when it comes to the animals out there in the jungle, way out in the middle of
but this is where
those creatures that are supposed to be dumb animals, you know, because we're smart, right? You know, we're the ones that are really, really smart. But the ones that's supposed to be so dumb, it seems that they won't gravitate to same sexes for some reason. I'm just not quite understanding what that's all about. But you know what, brother? I'm going to leave you alone and I'm going to go away.
Oh, it's deep. I can keep going because there are animals that are asexual and there are animals that don't have sexual intercourse that still procreate. So there are many things that are in nature.
Don't talk a little bit more. What you say?
No. I was saying if you really get down to brass tacks, there are animals that don't have sexuality, there are animals that are bisexual, and there are those that do neither, right? So there's a lot of things in nature that just because we haven't seen it, you know, in our everyday life doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And species are being discovered every day, practically, in the scientific community, particularly in oceanography. So this is what I'm saying. You know, it's delving really deep, and that's kind of how I try to take it. You know?
Okay. Okay, you know what, Brother Isaac? I'm going to leave you alone. Because we could probably, that's another show. Even. That's another show, even.
Yep, I'd love to come back.
Wait, I'm going to let you elaborate really quick, and then we got to move on because we're running out of time. Okay? So I'm going to let you elaborate really quick on what we just discussed, and then we'll move on.
Well, personally, I feel that, you know, it's only one way that it should be done, you know, between, man and woman, you know, and, you know, when you talk about homosexuality, you know, it's like, you know, a person denying who the Father has created for them to be. We see a lot now of transgenders, and we see a lot of people who are, you know, men dressing as women and vice versa, when the word tells us that we shouldn't do those things. So, you know, we're seeing a lot of this that's taking place. And once again, it's not acceptable by the Father. Of course, society is going to accept it because the world loves its very own. So, as far as, you know, if me hating on a person that wants to practice it, okay, to each his own. You go ahead and you do that. But you cannot consider yourself being, quote, holy and being a homosexual. Those two don't go together. That's like saying that you're a Roman Christian. You know what I mean? That's like an oxymoron.
Okay. Well, you know, we got that, and maybe we need to have another show on just that topic. I think that's a great topic, don't you, Miss Amy?
Yeah.
I think that's a great topic.
Because it's what's going on right now.
Yeah,
it really needs to be addressed and talked about.
Yeah. And so we could actually dialogue for a whole show on that, and I think we will one day. Okay, so thank you guys for sharing that. Now listen, we got to get down to brass tacks here. This is something that I wanted to bring out earlier on, and I'm going to drop this in the lap of Brother Isaac because this is in relation to Jehovah's Witness. And I saw a lot of information online, and these were all negatives, and this is where the rubber meets the road. When we do the Wiley Show, we got to bring out the negativity on these different denominations. And did leaders, I found something that said, did leaders of Jehovah's Witnesses cover up child sex abuse? Pedophiles repeatedly promoted to positions of authority in Jehovah's Witness churches. Jehovah's Witnesses pedophile pioneer convicted on 6 counts of child abuse. Jehovah's Witness faced child sexual abuse investigation. This is some pretty deep stuff. And so it says here, you know, well, I'm saying I hear that there are some sexual issues going on in the Jehovah's Witness faith, such as pedophilia. Is this true, Brother Isaac?
Yes, it's most definitely true. If I could elaborate.
Can you elaborate with us on that just a little bit, please?
So, first of all, I think in fairness to Jehovah's Witnesses are not pedophiles. And the average Jehovah's Witness you see on the street is no more pedophile than the average person you see on the street. But there is problems with the policies of the church, and it has allowed people who wish to be pedophiles to carry on and on and on, decade after decade. And basically what they do is Jehovah's Witnesses, even though they say that the law of Moses was buried or nailed to the stake that Christ was on, because they don't believe in the cross either, nevertheless, they take a text out of the Bible book of Deuteronomy and some in Timothy as well that states that there have to be 2 witnesses to every wrongdoing in order for there to be any punishment. The average pedophile does not get a witness, a second person to observe. Therefore, it leaves them open to believing the victimizer rather than the victim. So if a young lady, and usually it's girls, but it happens with boys too, come forth and say, Brother X, you know, did this to me. Well, is there any witnesses to it? Well, no. So therefore, we have to let God or Jehovah deal with it. Now, recently, with all of the spotlight that has been on this, they have started to not put people who are pedophiles in positions of authority in the congregation. But it doesn't change the fact that a pedophile could either be in the congregation or be brought back into the congregation without ever having been punished for that crime. And people in the congregation will not know about it. So it can be a very dangerous thing for people, with children in the Jehovah's Witness faith, and is one of the reasons why I do not recommend for people to be Jehovah's Witnesses, because I am a father of 4. And there is no way that I want to expose my children unnecessarily, and I would never recommend someone else to expose their children to any possibility. It's bad enough we have badness in society, let alone a group that has problems with their policies. So until they straighten that out, I don't think a person should join that faith.
Okay, anyway, I usually always say no dead air on the while in the show, and I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm just a little, tongue-tied right there. Okay, listen, we got to get out of here, y'all. Thank you very much, Brother Isaac, for sharing that with us, and that was one of the reasons why we had planned to have a 4-part show on this, because it was so much that we really wanted to discuss.
Oh, I'll come back at some point.
We have got to go, and Brother Isaac has agreed to come back on the show at some point, and I'm pretty sure Brother Wade will too. But we got to go for now. And listen, I want to give each one of you guys, we're running out of time, but I definitely want to give each one of you guys 1 minute for your closing thought. So let's go ahead and start with Brother Wade. 1 minute for your complete closing thought. Leave my viewers and listeners, our viewers and listeners, with whatever you would like to leave them with.
My closing remark is this, is that we need to study to show ourselves approved. We need to really, before we get into any religion, we need to do a lot of study, research, identify those leaders by their fruits. Do not just join a particular religion. Take your time, get to look around, see how the other people are acting, and then you may do so accordingly. But please, do the research. It's only one way to the Father, is through the truth. Identify yourself. The kingdom is within you. So you have to be real with yourself before you can be real with anybody else. That is my closing remark.
Thank you. Brother Isaac?
A lot of what I was going to close with, I mentioned when discussing the pedophilia, but just to add to that, what Brother Wade said is very much on point, I think, no matter what your faith is. You have to do the research. But using Scripture, I go back to Romans 12:1, where some Bible translations refer to our intelligent service or our reasonable service to God. Speaking about the Jehovah's Witnesses, there's a lot of things they get right, and there are a lot of things they take a very literal interpretation of the Bible, which is why so much of what I said tracked with what Brother Wade said. But that being said, there are some issues that could be very cultish. We have this pedophile issue. They have issues with the way they treat even family members who leave. They shun them. For example, if the person's parents died and they had left the religion, they won't even tell that person. People's parents could be dead for years, and then they find out from a friend or whatever. There's just a lot of issues that other Christian religions don't have. So you should always do the research, do the homework, and listen to independent sources before you join a religion. And it was a pleasure being here 3 times, and I hope to come back.
All righty then. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. We really, truly appreciate the 2 of you for taking time out of your very busy schedules to do 3 shows with us. We really do appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Brother Isaac Carmignani from formerly Jehovah's Witness, and Brother Renaldo Wade, Anti-Denominational. Thank you so much. Listen, everybody, look, I always say the same thing, and now I'm going to give you my saying, too. Okay, this is what I always tell you. Study for yourself. You've got to study for yourself. There are so many different teachings and beliefs out there, you will be confused. Don't wait for the person up front to tell you everything you need to know. Get in the books, get in the encyclopedia, get on the internet, get on your iPod, iPad. Do what you got to do, get the Bible, do whatever you got to do, but you owe it to you to study for yourself. You have got to study for
Miss Amy, her co-host.
All right, and you know we're going to see y'all next week. You know what show this is? This is the Wiley